on Curiosity Stream. He allows them their riches
Putin has to be the richest of the rich.
in exchange for their loyalty.
The oligarchs have supported someone for president that they underestimate.
The illicit affair between Russia's elite and the man who rules them on Putin and the oligarchs. And World War II Normandy. An obscure battle training session takes a tragic turn. Uncover the one secret military catastrophe on the secret D-Day disaster. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
Well, great balls of fire, Bubba. What happened, Buford? That crazy son of a Sal blew right through that four-way stop on Main Street and plowed into my cowboy Cadillac.
Your what?
My pickup truck. And I'm pretty sure my leg is broken, Ted.
Oh, quit your bitching, Buford, and talk with those side busters at the Advocates Law Firm. When I got busted up last month, well, shoot, they made sure those snakes at the insurance company played fair.
Boy, howdy. Even that creepy so-and-so Kyle earned his keep.
So if you get injured, the advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Our question, what were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jeffy. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
Well, I decided when I was 17 years old to strap a chainsaw motor to a bicycle and got hit by a truck shortly after.
All right, explain exactly how this happened.
So anyway, we're in the garage, we're hanging out. We're like, hey, man, we got this little chainsaw motor, sitting around. So we're like strapped to this. We got a couple of sprockets, so we just got an old chain, got it on there, put a tensioner on it. And I was just like, hauling ass down the street. And I come around this left corner in this little Mazda B2200, like Ford Ranger kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man, come around the corner, just takes me out, dude. Ricocheted down the whole passenger side of it, like destroyed the side of her truck, did a full 360 off the bike, and then landed in the grass on the side of the road.
How bad were your injuries?
I was surprisingly fine. Well, I got up from it. I tried to get up. The little old lady in the pickup truck, like, she's like, "Oh my God, stay on the ground!" Like freaking out.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's always good when the person who comes up to check on you is the one who's panicking.
Right.
Great. Thanks.
So, I just was like, okay, I'll just stay here. So I just stayed there and laid down until the, paramedics showed up, fire department showed up, like 4 cop cars showed up. And I'm like, seriously, guys, like, I feel fine. I'm fine. I could walk this off.
And how was you the next day after the adrenaline left your body?
After they finally let me up and I refused service, the rims on the bike were all bent, so I was like hobbling back to my house, which is right around the corner. And the tires are going, because I couldn't pick it up off the ground enough.
No, at least you're happy about it. It sounds like you're glad it happened.
Like the greatest collision ever.
Right.
It was pretty awesome.
Well, the guy who got hit out in front a couple years ago by the bus, man, he popped right back up. And he refused service and walked away.
He had the luxury of drugs.
He did. What were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
Sometimes, too, I think it's just the adrenaline of getting hit. Like we were talking about the guy, like on the motorcycle, clips the car, and he just gets up and rides off.
Right.
But you realize once he stops, like, he's going to be serious pain.
I got hit on my bike. It was years ago, but I was riding down the street in Baltimore, made eye contact with the guy's mirror, and he made a right turn anyway. Like, never put on his blinker, and that's part of the reason I wanted to establish eye contact, coming up to a major intersection, right? But we had the green light, so it's a little bit of a downgrade, MLK Boulevard, right? So, and I'm headed south, so you get a pretty good clip on the bike, and I'm like, well, if he's not going to turn, then I can just keep flying, get this light, right? It's all good. I live like 6 blocks from where I'm at this point, and dude hangs a right anyway. I didn't realize he hit me, but the people at the bus stop, I hear them go like, ooh. And as they're saying, ooh, and I'm trying to figure out what the situation is, I realize instead of riding south, I am now headed due west. Because he'd hit me in a way, he didn't really go over me, hit the side of it when he turned, but it knocked my bike completely to the right. So now I'm headed west. I'm still pedaling, and I realize my handlebars, they're now perpendicular to me, right? So the wheel is still facing forward, but the handlebars are now the exact opposite direction they should have been. I realized, oh man, then I realized, that little thump I heard, that was me hitting the guy's van, right? I mean, really, it did not seem to cause any damage. And like I said, I don't even have the experience of getting hit, other than hearing the sound, hearing the ooh, and realize my bike's a little messed up. So the guy pulls over, he's like, oh man, I'm really sorry. And I'm just like, dude, we made eye contact in your mirror. And like, I did that, and you looked right at me. You know, you never put on your blinkers, so I assumed you were going straight. He's very apologetic. In the end, he's like, are you all right? I'm like, man, actually, I'm fine. And I ride home, and now I drive straight on my handlebars, but I ride home, man, and my adrenaline's kicking in, and I'm proud of myself, like, damn, bro, you just hit by a van. You're all right. Next day, I could not get out of bed. My left knee was so goddamn swollen. It didn't even hurt at the time. I could not identify what part of my body hit his van when he was talking to me. It's like, I know you hit me, but I'm like, I'm okay. I'm like the Tin Man after he gets oiled up. Like, I'm money, bro. Don't worry about it.
It was the same thing when I was sledding down Denny.
Yeah.
And on that pallet exploded. Like, I remember it jabbing me, but it didn't hurt that much.
Sure.
I mean, we were sledding for another hour. We went to the damn bar and we're doing shots of Jaeger.
Right.
It wasn't until I woke up on my couch like 3 a.m. and it was like, oh no.
Right. Oh,
right. And then that morning, before I walked over to work, like trying to put a sock on, I mean, it was impossible. I couldn't even bend from like the waist down.
Did you have a flight 2 days later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's right.
That was brutal.
Somebody here says, didn't Thrill know a guy who got hit by a car on heroin? Yeah, my buddy Willis. And same thing. We're running across the street. It's at night. There was a particular turn. Woman's going about 40 miles an hour and just plows into Willis, man. And it's such a weird thing to see anyone get hit by a car, but certainly someone you know. And his body's up in the air. And, dude, he landed on the ground like a zombie. You know, like, 'cause every time zombies fall, they're always twisted. You know what I mean? So he's all, and we're like, oh, and it knocked him out of his shoes, which is still the amazing part to me. But we're like, oh, my God, Willis, man. Complete junkie. And all of a sudden, just like the zombie reanimating, man. Like, his limbs kind of stretch out.
Like a transformer forming.
Yeah, dude. He's just like, where the F are my shoes? We're like, bro, you got hit by guys. Like, where the F are my shoes? So we calmed this woman down. We said, look, don't worry about it. She's like, should I call someone? We're like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. He is so strung out on heroin. He's not making a deal. Just go. Just go. You know, before you get sued.
Was her car messed up?
So, no, not real. I mean, there's a little dent in the hood where she hit Willis. But anyway, you fast forward to the next morning. Everyone wakes up at our buddy's house, man, and Willis is just in pain, man. And he's like, what did we do last night? Like, are you being serious right now? He goes, yeah, it was some brother got hit by a car. He's like, no, seriously, man. So, Willis, you got hit by a car. He's like, I think I'd remember if I got hit by a car. And then everyone's like, bro, you got hit by a goddamn car, and that's why your shoes are all messed up and knocked you out of your shoes. He vaguely remembered not finding his shoes. He just didn't know why.
But he realized that he was in a lot of pain.
He realized he was in a lot of pain, but man, he hung in there. I mean, he kept hanging out.
What were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Yordi. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey.
Hola.
Hola.
Okay, yeah. So my sister and I were downtown Seattle. Came back on the 5 penny. And a couple guys were giving us some crap. We're 13, 14. We get off by the old theater up there, walking down 76 toward Green Lake, and coming down the hill, and I hear this crack, and I see this board go flying over my head, and I turn around and I look, and this guy's behind me, and he's holding the other end of the 2x4. He looks at the 2x4, looks at me, looks back at the 2x4, throws it down on the ground, and ran right up the hill. He was gone. Never saw him. Turn around, my sister's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm cool." Mom always said I had a hard head.
So you got hit in the head with a 2x4?
Yeah.
And you're like 13, 14 years old?
Yeah.
Why the hell do you think the guy wanted to hit you in the head with a 2x4? Especially since you're a kid. Was it another kid?
Well, they kept giving my stepsister a bunch of crap, and I just told them, hey, knock it off, whatever, this and that. And then, so we started walking down the hill, and I just told her to stay out in front of me in case they try anything, because I can hit people pretty hard. I found that out when first time I hit somebody and their feet came off the ground, they went flying backwards. So
that's why I hit you with the 2x4 too. Like, oh, that's yours.
Are you a big dude, or can you just throw a pretty hard punch?
Pretty big. Even at 13, I was 5'10", 175.
All right, so you are.
And I'm still 5'11" and about 170 at 62 years old.
All right.
Since last Friday, you guys were gone. So was I.
Sorry, we couldn't wish you a birthday. Our bad.
Yeah, no problem. No, it was all good.
I've never been hit with a 2x4 before.
No, I've been hit with different things, but not a tube buff. I remember I tore my kid up, man. I felt so bad. What was it? It was a baby stroller, all right? So I'm in Mexico. I'm there with my cousin. And me and my cousin end up with my son. We're walking back to the house that we're renting. Last thing we're going to do, there's a convenience store at the bottom of the hill. Let's just grab beer and cigarettes. It's like, cool. So my son, I want to say he was 2 or 3, but he's walking with us. But now we're in the store. So my cousin's standing beside me. I didn't realize my son's kind of behind me, all right? And so this baby stroller thing, the streets and the sidewalks in Mexico are garbage, right? So there's no point trying to roll a stroller down the sidewalk there. It's like going across the moon. So I'd folded it up, and it has one of those things you can like throw it over your shoulder, right? So I'm that guy. So I got this thing strapped across my body, and as I go to pay, I turn around like to hand the cashier some money, and I don't realize the back of the stroller has now swung around, and apparently it hits my kid in the head. And my cousin says to me, hey, man, be careful, you just hit your son. So I turn around the other way to find him. I don't realize it, and I hit him with the stroller again on the other side of the head, right? But I still don't see him. It just like it keeps knocking him to the other side of me. So I turn back around again to grab him. I hit him a third time in the head. So basically, I hit him twice on the left side of his head, once on the right side of his head with the stroller.
Was he crying or anything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude.
Did your cousin finally just grab him and be like, you can't handle this?
Get out of the way.
My cousin snatched. I mean, he was laughing. He was like, dude, it looked like Laurel and Hardy. I'm like, I just didn't see him. And he's like, every time you moved, you kept hitting him with the goddamn thing.
What were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
My brother and I were swimming in the ocean. You know how like a wave's about to crash on you?
Yeah.
So instinctively, you turn your back to go through it.
Absolutely.
Well, we didn't really think about it. He was holding my niece, who was like the same age, like 4 or something. So we turn our backs, but bam!
So
right
she's out facing.
She caught her right in the face. She's like screaming, and he's like, "Let's just stay out here for a minute." I was like, "I got you.
Yeah.
We can't take in a screaming baby."
No,
stop crying right now.
Right?
Hello,
salt water. You'll be fine.
Hello, Mike. Welcome to the midroom.
Hola.
Hola.
Yeah, so when I was in 8th grade, we begged my buddy to turn out for track with us. And, told him it'd be fun. And, there'd be girls out there, get him in shape for basketball and all that good stuff. So pretty early in the season, I go out for our distance run. And as we come back, I see his mom pull up, like, frantically in this giant Lincoln town car and barely has time to park the thing. And she goes running out to the field, and I look at her on the field, and everybody's, like, cleared out and backed away. And all of a sudden, this helicopter comes in from Harborview and picks him up, and it turns out he got hit in the head with a shot put.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so there we are telling him how easy and fun track is and all that good stuff. And he gets bombed in the head with a shot put.
How heavy are those?
Are they 8 pounds? What are they in high school?
This was junior high, so I think it was either 6 or 8 pounds. But apparently he had thrown a shot and went out to get it, and this other kid wasn't paying attention and just turned around and fired one out there and gonked him on the side of the head.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's not good. Better than a javelin. I'll say that. But,
yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, I guess, man. I mean,
yeah, that's a big
he's all right
ball.
now, but we were told for like 2 or 3 days, he may not come out of this all right. He might be a little different. And after all this.
He might be a little different. That's not what you want to hear.
He might be a little different.
He'll take a little bit to answer our question, but he's still in there.
Right.
Says here that middle school shot put is about 6 pounds.
Okay. All right.
I mean, look, that's the problem with baseball for little kids, right? Like soccer, even if they're not good at it, it's constant.
Right.
Basketball, you're going up and down the court. When you're playing like T-ball and stuff, like little kids are just sitting there. They don't pay attention. Eventually, some kid's going to hit a ball. Somebody's going to get hit. Somebody's going to get hit. So I think like some sports like baseball, like because there's a potential all the time to get hit with a ball, like some kids have a bad experience. They're never coming back.
No,
you take a ball off the head, man. Like you don't want to play that sport.
Right, like that kid. Right, you get hit with a shot put. Like I'm done with track and field.
Yeah,
like that's a wrap.
And the crazy thing is, man, if you watch baseball, fans are involved too. So fans get hit by baseball. You never see the video of some dude at a hockey match just taking a puck off that, and pucks fly into the stands all the time. But you never see that.
I saw it once.
You never see.
And what's worse, it was a little girl.
Oh God!
It was. I mean, you look at a hockey crowd, and I swear, I don't know if life had it in for her. Everyone in this section was an adult, all right, and they are all very tall. And she's 9, and somehow this puck, hit her right in the forehead. It hit anybody else in the sternum, right? Hit you in the chest, maybe. Just smashed her face, dude. She dropped and.
Yeah, you'd rather be hit by a baseball is a little bit forgiving. hockey puck is a hockey puck. I mean, it is a hockey puck. It is hard. It's like that was one of the things about even like lacrosse. Not a lot of people play lacrosse, but if you've ever been hit by a lacrosse ball, I mean, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts. I mean, those are
You remember years ago, man, because now, if you watch a hockey game, and there's always the plexiglass around the lower bowl, that was not the case. Like when we were growing up in the 70s, early 80s, man.
No, it's just a rink.
It wasn't there. So even when hockey players, when they just got crushed out, like they landed in the crowd, man. And these are big-ass athletes wearing all this stuff, and they're knocking your beer out of your hand, and the fans would cheer, seriously, and just pushing back out on the ice. And at some point, they said, maybe this isn't good. Yeah. Maybe this is imagine if they put seats in the end zone of an NFL game, right? So you got this receiver who's running full tilt, catches it over his shoulder, and Rob Gronkowski crashes into the crowd. At some point, you go, this is stupid. There needs to be a barrier. So I cannot believe how long it took hockey to do it, but they did finally do it. Like, turns out, people getting hit in the face with pucks and giant-ass players landing on them through the entire game. Because that's the whole thing with hockey. Right?
Yeah.
If you're on the perimeter, you're getting hit, man.
Oh, look, man, there was a game where typically you go out a little bit early, and if you are a specialist, which means if you're kicking or you're punting, the center, the long snapper goes out there, and the punt receive and the kick receive. So they're catching all the kicks. Punt receivers are catching all the balls, whatever. So anyway, it's time for us to get off the field, and this is before a game. Because the band's ready to go out.
Okay.
Now, once the band goes out, then after the band's done, the whole team comes out, and then they do all their warm-ups, right? Well, at this point in time, I can't remember who we were playing, but all the coaches are down early on the field strategizing and talking. Now, all those coaches don't remain on the field because there's about 3 or 4 guys that go up into the press box. So sometimes the guy who's calling the plays, whether that's the offensive coordinator or whoever, they are normally not on the field during the game.
Right.
But at the beginning of the onset of the warm-ups, they'll go down and kind of strategize with the other coaches who are going to be on the field. They'll go over some stuff like that. And then the band comes down. Those guys book it up. Then they go and then they get their headsets on and they get ready to call the plays and all that stuff. Well, the band's getting ready to come out, and we've already gotten the call that we are supposed to leave the field.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're running toward a corner where the locker rooms are. The band's kind of underneath the goalpost, right? And so there's one final snap, even though the punt receiver has turned around, he's running toward the tunnel, okay?
Yeah.
And Buddy Greg catches the ball, and he's like, I don't kick one more, held it. So he aims it towards the cone, because you're typically trying to kick it out of bounds at that point in time on the angle, launches one, right? I mean, this is high, booms this punt. The tip of the football lands on top of the offensive coordinator, who is also the play caller's head. Knocks him the hell out.
Oh, no.
Splatters him on the ground, okay?
Is it your team?
Yes. It's our coach. It's the guy calling the plays.
Oh.
So, all right, anyway. So I can't remember who we were playing. I think we were playing Rutgers or somebody. But anyway, so he's out. He can't call the plays. So then they put in this other guy who was like the quarterback coach at the time. So he's going to call the plays now, right? We run up like 65 points. So then, our offense is on fire just because somebody else is calling the plays. So from that point on, then he also went up into the press box to help call plays with the offensive coordinator. So like he would always come up, we were doing stuff like, yeah, man.
Yeah, hit him again.
Thanks for the opportunity. You know what I mean? But, I mean, spread him out on the field, like to the point where there weren't a lot of people in the stands. But, they brought the ambulance out. They brought the stretcher out. I mean, it was...
Didn't anybody for the band yell at him?
Well, the band's now moving on. Like, it's moving. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're coming out. It's kind of like the Stanford band thing. They're coming out, man, when we're going off. I mean, it's not the end of the game, but... It was just like, oh, dude, you killed coach. Right. You know what I mean? And then you don't really think about it because you never see him on the field like, oh, God, he's the offensive play caller. It really doesn't dawn on you because when you're on the field, you don't think,
you don't see him,
what
right?
coach is up there calling the plays? You know what I mean? It's just, What were you or someone else at with 206-421-ROCK?
New on Curiosity Stream, she was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
$20 million, $19 million,
$6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
99.9 KISW. Yay! You're in the men's room.
2 people are recovering after a ceiling collapse at a popular ice cream shop in West Hartford, Connecticut. Shop has since been shut down. Town's building department is investigating. There were more than a dozen people inside when it happened on Monday night. People say it's deeply concerning anytime they hear the word collapse, especially with what's happened in Surfside, Florida. After the ceiling crashed, I'm like, they're not going to be able to make any more ice cream, said Hope, who is identified as a 9-year-old girl from West Hartford. The ice cream-loving 9-year-old says that she's going to have to go somewhere else now for her treats. A dozen to 20 people were inside and 6 employees when the ceiling basically just collapsed in a certain part of the establishment. A dozen people were somewhat injured by the ceiling fall. A few were taken to the hospital. Their injuries, however, are described as minor. City officials have deemed the place unsafe.
You don't say.
And suggested that you go to their other location.
The place where the ceiling falls out. Huh.
What were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Chico. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola. So what were you hitting?
Back in the day, I lived in Los Angeles, out in Santa Clarita, and I was coming into the valley to have a Sunday afternoon barbecue with my sister-in-law. My wife and I took separate cars, and I stopped on the way and waited for her to catch up, and she pulls up and says, you don't have to worry about me. I said, no, today I want to know where you are at all times, whether you're in front of me or behind me. So go ahead, I'm behind you. So she takes off and takes the Sunland Avenue exit, which is very near the Burbank Airport.
The Californians.
I'm sitting there at the stoplight. She's in front of me, and I'm sitting there. I look over to my left, and I see this airplane flying funny, and I'm like, well, where's he going to put that? I was in the Air Force, so I had some crash recovery experience, and I knew that he was out of fuel. So I said, where's he going to put that? And as soon as I said that, the light turned green. She takes off, turns left over the overpass, and the airplane crash landed into the left front hubcap of our Cadillac.
You were kidding me?
Dang.
So your wife got hit by a plane?
Yep, exploded into fire, and the nose of the propeller hit right dead center of the hubcap of the driver's tire. And when that happened, of course, propeller stopped suddenly, but before it stopped going down to the ground, it cut the side molding of the car in half like a piece of cheese.
Well, your wife was lucky. I mean, 3 more feet and she would not be here.
No, you're right. I actually, with my crash recovery experience, I put the fire out, took the pilot and his wife out of the plane, put the fire out with some help from some other people, and then the L.A. Fire Department Battalion Chief shows up, and he's like, who is here? And I'm like, what do you mean who is here? He's like, well, how come the fire's out and all that? And I said, well, that was my wife and kids that the airplane hit, so I did what I'm supposed to do.
Oh, damn, your kids were in the car, too.
Yeah, and he says, what do you mean what you're supposed to do? I said, well, it was instinctive. I said, I was in the Air Force, and I have like 100 hours of crash recovery experience on aircraft. I said, so instinctively I knew what to do, so I just had to get some fire extinguisher from the businesses next door here and put the fire out.
Now, as someone who lived in the area, maybe this is just my imagination, but I feel like a lot of times that I hear about particularly small aircraft making an emergency or crash landing, it seems like it's outside of that airport specifically.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it wasn't that small of a plane. Thank God she was driving a Cadillac. It was a 6-seater Cessna Cherokee something. And like I said, the battalion chief said he has to beat his guys just to go put the fire out.
What?
Because it's avgas.
I'm going to assume that most of the time that you do these recoveries, is it kind of more like a Civil Air Patrol thing where most of the people are deceased?
No, I was active Air Force. I was in Japan for 2 years and at Travis Air Force Base for 2 years.
So when so someone was able to eject or whatever on any type of accident, I guess?
Well, kind of. One thing that happened when I was at Travis, Stretch DC-8 was taken off and his tire blew out on one of the landing gear, and which caused a chain reaction of a whole bunch of tires blowing out and putting 4-foot holes in about 14 places on the bottom of the wings.
Jesus.
And all the wheels and everything catching fire and everybody jumping out of the plane.
That sounds hilarious. I can see why you're laughing.
Like that Boeing that dumped itself in the water outside of Hawaii. You got to think they made a successful landing. I mean, they sullied that damn thing to be able to get out of there, right?
Yeah.
They had to.
Well, actually, what they do is they put a person, which was me, at the end of the taxiway to watch the aircraft take off. There's always somebody watching a plane take off, active on the active runway, and that's where I was. And when I saw the tire blow out, I went, "Oh my God, here we go."
Well, that's why you're there. You know,
do you ever almost get hit standing at the end of the runway, knowing that a plane is racing toward you?
No, I wasn't mowing grass with my John Deere tractor either.
Well, I mean, you see what happens when even a plane that size hits like a Canadian geese.
Yeah,
in the air. And basically takes the entire cone and just pushes it back into the cockpit.
Oh yeah, well, you heard about the Canadians when they were developing aircraft canopies, and they borrowed our cannon to shoot the geese out of, and they kept ruining the windshields. And they couldn't figure out what they were doing wrong, and they sent a guy from the United States over there to say, "Hey, well, show me what you're doing." And they loaded up in the cannon and shot it, and it blew a hole in the canopy. And the engineer looks at the other engineer and he goes, "Thaw the chicken."
Yeah. My brother told me about this. He said they kept firing frozen. They go to the grocery store, buy them frozen, but they couldn't figure it out. They're finally like, "Bro, you're firing cannonballs at the goddamn plane. Birds are not frozen when they're flying. You gotta thaw the thing, dude." It's amazing little things you overlook. There's another thing I want to say. Back during the space race days, right? So NASA and the Soviet Union, was doing their big penis thing, trying to get up there and who's first. And so NASA spent a lot of money, a lot of time working with all these different engineers trying to figure out a ballpoint pen that can ride in zero gravity. Because fluid in zero gravity coalesces to the middle. It's not going to just flow out. It's all them. And so I don't know how much money they spent, but like any government thing, they overspent trying to figure it out.
And someone says, "Hey, why don't you use a pencil?"
Yeah, the Russians were like, "We use pencils." Just if you really want to solve the problem, man, just use
crayon,
a pencil,
whatever.
anything.
Yeah. What were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Lance. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola.
So I was hit in the head with a pickaxe in '86 when I was 21.
Oh, Jesus, man.
A pickaxe?
Yeah.
How?
A road rage incident in Fort Worth, Texas on I-35 going north.
What was the road rage incident about?
So I got on the freeway going to work. I ran a route, and I was in a '85 Ford Ranger, and I got on the freeway going as fast as I could. And there was nobody really on the freeway at the time. We were like trailing the traffic going into town. And anyway, so I got on the freeway as fast as I could, and this guy was hauling the mail, and I got on the freeway, and he kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and I was waving him around me because I was going. I had it floored. Little 4-cylinder Ranger, doing as fast as I could, probably 80, 81, 82, and he started bumping my truck.
Jesus.
That's when I flipped him off and tapped my brakes. Well, that was a mistake. So he chased me down. We finally caught up to the traffic, and at the time they were building up I-35 north and southbound, so I had like a 35-foot retaining wall to my right, and then 2 lanes, and then the fence that guarded the southbound and northbound traffic. And he got in front of me and skidded to the stop. Well, I consider myself a pretty fast individual back then. I was into different things, martial arts, kendo, whatever. And this guy got out of his truck and was hitting me through my window, because it was 97 degrees in the morning, before I could get my seatbelt off. So I scrambled out of the car and I started fighting this guy. I hit him with everything. I think he was on PCP or something, because I hit him with everything I knew how to hit a guy with. I had blood coming out of his ears. I kicked his knee. I hit him in the throat with a ridge hand. And finally, I scrambled back to my truck, grabbed my kendo stick out. Well, he ran to his truck and grabbed a pickaxe. Right? So now I'm fighting a guy with a pickaxe. So not a big deal, because I can just dodge it and hit him in the back.
Not a big deal. Pickaxe.
Sure. Yeah. Just what you need in Texas.
Well, I wasn't trying to kill him. He was trying to kill me, but that was the problem. So eventually I decided to move in, close, grab the pickaxe, and hit him with a pommel of my kendo stick, right? Well, I had this tick in practice where 9 times out of 10 I was perfect. At one time I would freeze. Well, I froze. And as he came down, luckily I blocked most of it with my forearm, my left forearm, and simple fractured my forearm, but he hit me right in the head with a pickaxe.
Did that knock you out?
I came to, still squatting, okay? I saw the deepest, darkest pit of blackness that I've ever seen. It was dark, damp, and wet, trying to be pulled into it. And I felt the right hand on my left shoulder, and a voice said, "Son, you can lay there and die, or you can get up." And I looked around, and I swear to God, Jesus was there for a split second. And I came to, I was still squatting. I drove myself to the hospital.
Sure. So, was it really a person, or do you just think you saw something?
The strength, I don't know. You can take it for whatever you want to. I saw what I saw.
I believe you, brother, but I would just say
this. At the time I was 21, and I didn't know if there was a guy that really didn't care. But it kind of changed me.
Yeah. I bet it did.
Look, man, if it's me, I'd be like, Jesus, real quick, where were you like 2 minutes ago? I could have used the backup, bro.
Wait, so did they arrest this guy, or did anybody try to?
No. He took off. Somebody asked me. He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." Did you get his license plate number? No. So I drove and tried to catch him, and wound up the east side of I-35. Asked the lady to use her phone, and she was on a phone on her porch. This is back before cell phones, 86. And she says, "I'm calling the hospital. I'm calling an ambulance." I'm like, "Whoa, I can't afford an ambulance." I got back in my truck and drove back across the freeway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to afford an ambulance. That's a fact. Not 21 years old. There's no way in hell. I don't care what year it was.
No.
Yep.
So I was saved by Dr. LeBlanc, was care flighted from, what's the hospital that JFK was shot at in Dallas? Peterson?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Anyway, they care flighted him to John Peterson Hospital. And I was still recorded to this day, the least amount of blood, still conscious in the history of the hospital. I was down to like 3.45 pints of blood, and you're supposed to be dead after 5.
So you said you bled out more than JFK?
Yeah, man.
And lived. He lived. Different outcomes.
My dad showed up at 6 o'clock. This happened at 8:30 in the morning, and started to threaten the hospital with lawsuits. And I'm like, thank God my dad's here. I can pass out.
Why was he threatening to sue the hospital? They just saved your ass.
Right? Well, I couldn't. I was a block away. I was disoriented, I found a gas station, had to put a quarter in the door to get in there, and put the 55-gallon trash can in front of it so I could keep it open. That's when I kind of started to get worried, because I couldn't stop the bleeding, and I called my work and had my supervisor show up and show me the way to the hospital, which was 1 block away.
Okay.
Well, no, we understand. You took a pickaxe to the head, man.
Probably were a little disoriented.
Yeah.
I got a little confused. So he drove to try to catch the guy, then went back to a gas station?
I think the adrenaline at that point just is to the point where you just don't realize how messed up you are or how much blood you're losing.
Which is probably
But
good.
I thought he got air flighted or drove himself to the hospital.
I think he did, but he may have gotten air flighted after, if it's beyond their pay grade, so to speak. You know, there's a reason you go to Harborview versus the hospital you started at, right? Because news is real bad. Hey, by the way, we got an update on the NASA pencil versus pen thing.
Okay.
Right? There is a reason for this. So they said, look, but in a nutshell, as a bunch of people are saying, one of the problems with the graphite pencils, they don't want to take them into space. Like, yes, we know they can write, but like anything with a pencil, when the points break off, as they do, those little bits floating around cause a lot of problems for some of the equipment up there.
All right.
Okay. The other thing is apparently the graphite in the pencil, slightly combustible. Yeah.
That's not good.
Slightly combustible in spaceships, like, okay. No, we don't want to do that, yeah.
What were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
That's about the most Texas story I think I've ever heard.
Someone here says $20, says this guy looks like Walker, Texas Ranger. Hello, Ian. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So, when I was about 12 years old, I was playing hide and seek with my brothers and my cousins, and my little brother thought it'd be a good idea to hit me in the face with a pipe.
Jesus Christ, man. Was he angry, or was it just a little kid moment?
And it was a little kid moment trying to run away from the seeker. So, there was a pipe hanging from a rope in the barn, and he decided to take it up to the second story and throw it down at me when I came in.
And how was your head? Did it split it open? Did you get knocked
no,
out?
it was actually... I was actually really lucky. It took only a chunk of my eyebrow out.
That is lucky.
Split them into two different units.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got 3 eyebrows for 2 eyes now.
Actually, I became 2 eyebrows. I have a unibrow.
You do have a unibrow.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So is the scar still there where the hair can't grow through it?
It actually just started growing hair again,
So how weird was it to look at you? Because I'm picturing a unibrow. Everyone has the same thing, but you still have 2 eyebrows. It's just way off center.
Yeah, it was weird. It was diagonally cut, and it stayed like that for years.
Now, what is your brother, does he laugh about this now?
Yeah, sort of, kind of. He doesn't remember it.
Okay.
Of course he did. He wasn't the one who got his face bashed open.
What were you or someone else hit with? 206-421-ROCK.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Hello, Anthony. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitch, hola.
Hola.
Well, my old band, we were playing in South by Southwest in Texas, and it was one of the nights we got super, super drunk, and we're at the top of our roof, and we're probably like 3 or 4 stories off. My friend decides to stand on the edge of the roof and start peeing. Well, suddenly we hear screaming, and then I see this beer bottle fly up and hit my friend directly in the area.
Oh, man. Was it a full beer or an empty one?
Oh, it was full. So he was wet not only by the pee, but by the beer.
So did the can bust on him?
No. It was a bottle. It didn't bust on him, thank God. It hit him just nicely right there. He dropped and cried. It was glorious.
It was glorious.
Well, that's what happens when you pee on people.
Mm-hmm. I've never been hit with a bottle. Thank God. Knock on wood. That's never happened to me.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah. Never seen that crazy of a thing go down before in a bar.
It was never at a bar. There were kids that were probably 14. When I first moved out of the house, I'm about 21, and we exchanged words about whatever. Typical Baltimore crap, doesn't matter. They had gone around the block, right? Standard block. And the bottles started coming over from the other side and crashing down around us, and realized these kids are now throwing glass bottles over the houses trying to hit us. I will not finish that story, but we took care of it.
I will not finish that story.
I've had one miss my face closely at a tailgate.
Were they
in
aiming
a fight, or someone was just fooling around?
We were just walking through in the other team's colors, and somebody chucked it, and it like went, woof.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Because you're wearing the other team's colors.
Yep.
Was that part of your tailgate tour?
It was around that time, the start.
I was like, this wasn't a Morgantown, was it?
No.
Okay, all right. Still to come, the return of Who Sucks Less. You are listening to The Men's Room.
New on Curiosity Stream, he allows them their riches
Putin has to be the richest of the rich.
in exchange for their loyalty.
The oligarchs have supported someone for president that they underestimate.
The illicit affair between Russia's elite and the man who rules them on Putin and the Oligarchs. And World War II Normandy, an obscure battle training session takes a tragic turn. Uncover the one secret military catastrophe on the secret D-Day disaster. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.